Hey guys, Sunday morning here at Tavernier Creek Marina. First weekend in May, we got the Nick Sheehan Dolphin Tournament going on. Yesterday, Saturday, the biggest fish weighed in was I think around 16 pounds. So yeah, you know, and then there were a lot of schoolies caught yesterday as well. There are a lot of dolphin out there, but you have to be where the fish are, not where the fish are not. So the fish are popping up a little later in the day. Okay, you got a high tide, kind of a little bit in the middle of the afternoon. So what I was seeing yesterday was the birds starting to pop down yesterday, and started seeing them in fairly close. So I was seeing fish in 300 feet of water. So usually in the afternoons they'll pop in a little closer. They're chasing flyers. A lot of flying fish and a lot of bait. A lot of bait along the reef. Very good. Which leads me to grouper fishing. It's been phenomenal. In fact, it's been, like, I would say probably the best I've seen in a couple years. I have had, knock on wood, 0 issues with the man in the gray suit. So you never say his name. When you start saying his name when you get on the boat, bad things tend to happen. He tends to find you. It's just superstitions, and trust me on this one, okay? Never say his name when you're on the boat. Always refer to him in another always refer to him in another name, okay? So give him whatever nickname you want. Okay, so, but what I did see yesterday is that over the past few days is a slower yellowtail bite for me. Usually in spots that I usually catch numerous yellowtails, I didn't do very well, to be honest with you. I caught a few, like they bit for a while, then they stopped. So the best bite happened early in the morning, and then as that sun came out, they were there. But again, my anglers were more focused on groupers and the bottom fishing than they were flatlining, okay? So if you would have had some chumball, if I had some chumball mix, but we weren't, like, it was actually, we weren't doing that because it was, what's the word for it? I guess you can say it was very challenging out there with the wind. It has been extremely rough. Definitely seakeeper days for myself. So we were fishing in anywhere between 65 foot out to 100 foot of water. On Friday there were reports of some good 8-footers out there along the edge of the reef. So, but it came down a little bit on, I want to say, yeah, on Thursday on opener. And then it came down a little bit on Friday in the afternoon. And then yesterday it caught everybody off guard because it was pretty sporty out there. I saw a lot of guys hanging their heads over the side of the boat. So, and then I felt bad for them. So there's lots of ways that you can prevent seasickness, and I'm not like a medical doctor or anything, or I can't give you any medical recommendations, but you just Google it. I have a lot of stuff on my webpage about preventing seasickness, and that tends to be what works the best. So it's go to my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com, and go to the facts, and then you can read how I go over preventing seasickness with clients, and it tends to fix them pretty good. So the Seakeeper does not fix seasickness, okay? Does not. There's 3 types of seasickness. You got side to side, you have up and down, and then you have what I call car sick stuff, and then it's just genetics, and then there's hangover and eat McDonald's before you get on the boat and all that crazy stuff. So just, you know, be cautious, especially if you're booking a trip with a guide. You know, take every possible precaution for seasickness. Wind's coming down a little bit today. Always looking at the dive flag up there at Tavernier Creek Marina. That's my best weatherman here. But I look at the flag and it's starting to come down. And then we've got a lot of hubbub going on at the marina right now. We've got the big forks dumping the boats into the canal here. Actually dropping them this morning. And then we've got Concrete Public divers getting ready to head out here. And then we've got the Nick Sheehan Dolphin Tournament going on. And then we've got Chris, the man. Chris, what's your detail business name?
Dapper Marina Maintenance.
Love it. So we got a lot going on here this morning. So it's a shorter fishing report. So backside of the moon, I don't really know what I'm going to get myself into today. So I'm prepared with a lot of different baits like I've gone over the past. I've got red meat, I've got white meat, I've got all the different stuff, and I've got some live bait. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Some days they like chicken, and some days they like Fritos, and some days they like a greasy pizza. So you just don't know. And other days they'll eat the pink socks right off the back of your boat. Okay? That's what the first couple days of grouper season's about. They really are not very picky. They haven't been fished. It's a good way to boost your confidence levels out there. Try some new baits. Try your setups. Now, after day 5, we're into day 4, I think it is. I'm losing track. After day 5, they start getting a little pickier, and then they keep getting harder and harder and harder to catch because you've got a good population of spear divers that have been hitting them on the rough days. So that's getting to be a very, very popular sport down here in the Keys. It is what it is. So I don't have, however you catch them, you catch them. So as long as it is what it is, I've got my thoughts on that, but I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, I think that's, as far as fishing goes, a lot of little tunas caught yesterday. You've got the permits still on the wrecks, the Eagle wreck, and then you've got the molasses wreck over the next few weeks. They're going to be, you're in peak permit spawn right now. Get some crabs. Flat days are the best, so you can see them. They usually get in the front of they're usually on the buoys. So, few APs. I don't know. Everybody's asking me about catching APs. I usually just, honest to God, I just catch, like, they're mixed in with the mutton snappers. I don't get too much into targeting them, so I'll catch them when I'm mutton snapper fishing and grouper fishing. So I don't really, that's one, everybody asks me why I don't do that. I'm like, I don't really, like, honestly, it's not my thing. I just catch them when they're mixed in, and that's it. So I'm not going to go out and specialize in targeting APs. I'm not going to be that Amazon.com guy that says he can do that. I can't, it's like, I'm not Amazon.com, period. So, and even Amazon's getting a little harder to get stuff from, if you know what I mean. Especially TeamU. Okay. Now we'll see what's going to happen here today. Wind shifts out to the southeast. Love a southeast breeze, usually fires them up a little bit. And certain parts of the reef fish very well for yellowtails, and certain parts of the reef fish, they're just not biting. I found that the best yellowtail bite for myself was more down towards Conch Reef, okay, and down towards off the Tarpon Hole, off of down a little further to the south. I'm going to wrap it up here today. What we have going on the Good Karma Sport Fishing coaching and education side of the business is we have just launched the grouper and yellowtail fishing course, and it's 8 weeks of intensive stuff where I'm going to give you several updates as what I'm doing now versus what I've done several years ago. It's been a long while since I've done that, and I'm doing things 100% different, I guess you can say, on certain baits. Found some new baits. I'm going to share some new stuff with you that I've learned over the past couple years. So I'm not really going to focus too much on, I'm not going to talk very much about the Speedo because everybody knows about it. So I'm going to share other baits that are working very well for me. And I'm trying not to use Speedos, actually. And I haven't caught a grouper on a Speedo at all. Everything's been on the other baits that are very accessible, so you don't have to sweat the Speedo. Okay, you can catch fish on other stuff besides the Speedo. I call that the YouTube fish. The goggle eye's getting to be like that too for some reason, but I think goggle eyes are good. But you gotta, there's ways to make them better. Okay, especially for bottom fish. Okay. So we've got the link in the bio for that course. We just kicked it off, and as well we have 8 weeks of mutton snapper mastery courses, like 8 weeks total of package ready. And I appreciate the guys that have bought those packages over the past couple of days, because there's a lot of good information in there, including one piece of information that may change some things for you guys, so that are new. But you gotta look really close because it's there. If you've been looking for something, it might be there. So you guys know that I like a little treasure hunt, and I cannot share what's happening in those because there's just too much duplication going on out there in the world. So I want everybody just to go their own path and make their own way with that. So you guys know what I mean. Okay, I think that's all I got here. I've got the I've got the Patreon group. Okay, so there's a lot of good content in there. I've got 3 tiers. Okay, so I've got the I've got a good like free content tier in there. It's like the best of. Okay, and then we've got the Good Karma Sport Fishing Rigging Crew. Awesome group, and I'm getting ready to make that video here soon. We're going to be doing a chum ball update and what I'm doing with soft chum, and I'm using a lot of that right now because I'm trying to get away from chumming as much because of the sharks, and it's been working. Okay, so and also too we've got the Good Karma Sport Fishing Angler's Edge, and that's a spot finding community. Go to the Patreon, learn all about it. It's an awesome, I'm super excited about this group because it's what people have been asking about for several years, and I finally found a forum that I can spot with Patreon that I can do it with and give some good content so you can really have a great summer and not struggle. Because I can tell you what, there's a ton of people fishing and there's a ton of people bottom fishing, and the only way that you're gonna stay on top of things is to get the edge. And a lot of guys, like, I get a lot of hate for sharing stuff. What do you share what you do? I was like, hey, you know, I can share it, but you have to actually execute it. You have to actually execute it. And that includes fishing spots, and it's been entertaining out there, I guess you can say, watching, seeing who's drifting by me and seeing who's coming up on me. And these are pretty good long time guys. They'll stop the boat, they'll push the button, they'll come up trolling by me, hit the button. And these are guys that have been that follow me on Instagram. They're like guys that have like 3 or 4 boat operations. So I like to, honestly, for myself, I like to put my head on my pillow at night, lay down, close my eyes, and know that I didn't have to hit the button on somebody that day to catch a fish, or jump into that guy's slick to catch a fish. And it's not, I'm not being negative about it. I'm just like, for myself, that's just me. As far as what everybody else feels, it's just, hey, it's how you were raised, it's how you were born, it's how you're reacting. And it's like when you're out there in the water, you try to, like, you know, do the best you can. And when you go into panic mode, the clients can see that. And what's so funny is that over the years, my clients see who they are, and they're like, oh, I follow that guy on Instagram, I'm not going to be following him anymore because he shut off my bite. And I don't even need to tell them who they are. They know. So, and yeah, I'm not perfect either, but hey, you know, I'm by far not perfect, by far, but I'm who I am. So anyhow, yeah, and I always go into this little spiel. That's just who I am. I don't care. I really don't. As far as booking with me this year, or this summer, we're going to be, I really am focusing a lot on bottom fishing, and I really want you guys to catch your own fish. Your own fish. I don't like to reel the fish for you and get them off the rocks. We have a discussion about that, okay? I asked you, if you have any arm problems, do you have any issues? My goal is to teach you how to do it. And I have to say, over the past 2 trips, I have a lot of guys that are like, that have fished with me in the past.
Look at the drone spy. Hi, drone spy. Hi, drone spy. Yeah. Hi, see you.
I have a lot of guys that have been fishing with me in the past that are catching their own fish. I teach them how the bite goes, and there's this difference. The groupers don't bite the way you think they do, and they caught their own fish, and it's when they go home from a fishing trip, they do a great job. And they say, well, you only get 3 shots. You only get 3 shots. And I say that to the client. They're like, well, we'd rather miss them. And that's one thing I learned from fishing as a mate. And the guys I fished under, like, you never hand it, like if you hook a big dolphin, like, and you hook it for him, and you never want to fight that fish for the client, because if you lose it, that client is always going to remember that you lost it. And at the end of the day, that client's going to blame you. No matter how, like, you thought things were going to go on that trip, he's always going to blame you. And they won't come back. Or he'll harass you about it every time he sees you. And it won't be in a good way. So I'm just sharing that with you because when I first started, I've had instances like that where I shouldn't have did it, and I did it and I caught hell, and I won't so now we have discussions about it, and I do my best, and we go over the idea that it's sport fishing is that it's a team effort. So one guy may excel at getting the fish off the bottom, one guy may excel because he's strong and he can just whip sharks away and just whip the fish away, and one guy may be just really good at finessing fish. So those are the things as a captain I really look at, because everybody has their own skill sets. So, and then I look at them and I can see what their skill is and where they need to, where they're going to fit in. And that's what sport fishing is all about. Bottom fishing, there's more than just going out there and dropping a piece of dead bait on the bottom. So that's all I got for today, guys. Check out all the links in the YouTube description and all that stuff. Hit the subscribe button for all these crazy fishing reports and crazy antics. Honestly, I don't care. So, and yeah, I catch a lot of crap, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for tuning in, and remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.